A warm greeting to you, my dear developers. We are going to start our first real project driven by requirements and Azure DevOps work items. We will follow best practices using feature slide design, what you see on this screen, feature slide design, architecture pattern. Then we'll create the next project and install it. So, well, this is the documentation, the official documentation. Now we are in this official feature slide design website to read the basic concepts of this architecture and get an introductory understanding. As we build these and future projects, we will keep refining and mastering the architecture. So, feature slide design, architecture methodology for front-end projects. You call this front-end projects. So, features, explicit business logic, easily discoverable architecture thanks to domain scopes. Yes, it's focused on domain. I mean the entities, the business logic. That is an important feature. Then we find that FSD are adaptability. Architecture components can be flexible, replace and add it for new requirements. Just imagine, that is an excellent point, because you need to replace a component and just you can do it. Add a component, take out a component, there is no problem. Then we find tech, dev, and refactoring. Each module can be independently modified, rewritten without side effects. Just to easy to maintain, you need to keep your services independently. And with this architecture, you can do it, and you can modify it and a module, and it's no problem. Explicit code reuse. A balance is maintaining between dry and local customization. Remember that is dry? Dry is don't repeat yourself. Dry is when you have to avoid repetitive codes. Remember? That is a principle design. Okay, concepts. Public API. Each module must have a declaration of its public API at the top of level. Yes, and it's an excellent way to do that, because using a index.txt file, you can establish your public API in each layer. You are going to see. Isolation. The module should not depend directly on other modules of the same layer or overlying layers. Yes, that is important when you are working and developing and designing and developing an architecture project. Yes, you have to keep and maintain, isolate the main modules for maintainability. Yes. Needs driven, orientation to business and user needs. Okay, and look at this, my devs. There is the schema. There are three main parts: layers, slices, and segments. That is the official taxonomy. Yes? Well, in this image, we see the layers. Yes, is like a vertical map from more generic to more specific along the dependency flow. they are rogues, yes? In Spanish, filas. They are the rogues of the architecture. The lawyers are the rogues. And for example, the lawyer app, it's in charge of road compositions, providers, global styles, and more. Processes, well, it's in bigger projects, but in small projects like this one, the task manager, well, it's not necessary. But processes is, for example, multi-screen flows, onboarding, checkout flow. Yes, there are bigger processes. Then we find pages, the lawyer pages. Pages, full screens and rows, assembling widgets and features. Yes, that is the main mission of the pages. And then we find widgets. Widgets compose UI blocks. I mean, for example, user menu or card widget. Yes, they are big, and that combine. Widgets combine features and entities. I mean, widgets combine these features and these entities. Then we find features. Features are business actions that combine entities and actions. Yes? And finally, we find entities, domain models, for example, user model, product model, task model, I mean, student model, customer model, yes? And finally, shared, pure and reusable utilities for design system. Here there are helpers, generic API, yes, and config. So the golden rule is the order: app, pages, widgets, features, entities, and share. And repeat, they are the lawyers, the rogues, yes? First row, second row, and so on. Then we find the slices. They are the columns. The lawyers are the rows, and the slices are the columns. Inside each lawyer, inside pages lawyer or features lawyer or widgets lawyer, each lawyer is split by domain and feature. Yes, that is a layer. So, for example, features about a user. Inside features, we can find the slice reset password, or auth by email, or user, or post, or comment. Yes, those are slices. And we can find then the segments: UI, model, and API. They are technically, yes, they are more technically. They are the part technically. They structure the how of each slice, yes? The slice is the what, and the segment is the how. For example, UI, you can put there presentation components, or maybe in model, you can put state, hooks, stores, effects, yes? In API, you can remote calls specific to the slice, or delegate to share, public contracts in the segments, public contracts, the index or public API and the slides and that. So let's read something pretty important from the official page. Feature slide design is a modern architectural methodology tailored by building scalable front-end application. Just remember that, scalable front-end application. That is the most important applications and projects and web applications in the world. Scalable front-end application, particularly in React ecosystem. Yes, I mean, this is the most famous and useful architecture in the world in this day, at the time. The core principle is to organize project structure by focusing on application features rather than purely technical layers. Yes, the architecture is focused on features rather than pure technical layers. In traditional paradigms, developers often group code by technical concerns, such as components, services, or styles, leading to monolithic files and complicated dependencies. But feature slide design addresses these issues by placing features at the forefront. Yes? Everything is based in feature, is around the features. This approach promotes a cleaner and more intuitive structure that streamlines collaboration and maintenance. And yes, key elements of feature slide design come here. At the heart of this methodology are distinct layers, slices, and segments. Yes? Layers, slices, and segments. Each layer groups the application parts in a way that reflects the user's journey and the business logic rather than technical minutiae. Again, the most important is the feature. Yes, each layer groups the application parts in a way that the most important is the journey, the user, having in mind features rather than technical minutiae. Slices break down major features into smaller domains, and segments provide clarity within those slices, capturing subtasks or subcomponents in a logically separate manner. By structuring a project with these elements, developers create code that is more approachable, testable, and easier to onboard new team members into. Oh, leader, there are new developers. It doesn't matter, no problem. Because this architecture provides the structure to add any member of a team in any moment. Yes? Well, look at this. For example, this is the lawyer widget, for example. Here is the feature, for example, entity. Yes, they are in a different order, but it's for an example. But the important is that they are the lawyers. Yes, lawyers, and they are rogues. Yes, I am going to do another lawyer, but look at this. Inside the lawyer are the slices. This is an slicer, this is another slice, excuse me, and another slice. Yes, and they are slices, and they are the columns. So this is vertical, layers are vertical, but slices are horizontal, and slices are inside the layer. The layer contains the slices, and the slices, for example, a task, talking about the project that we are going to build, to do tax or tax manager. Yes, that is the slice. There are many different slices, like add task. Yes, but look at this. We are going to see in Azure DevOps. Remember, here is the epic and the feature and the user story. But look at this. There are 4 tasks. Yes, tasks. And what do you see? Or what do you see? What do you watch? Create task entity type. Yes? I mean, I call these tags having in mind FSD architecture, and I write in every task an element from architecture FSD. Entity is this entity. This entity. So this first task is going to take over the contract of the entity, the model. Remember, model, entity, model, like task or user or customer or seller or professor. Yes, it's an entity, a model, and this is the task in charge of that. But having in mind the architecture and at the same time the Azure DevOps work items, they are synchronized. Yes, they are aligned entity. Let's see the second task. Add task for feature. Yes, this is the form that is going to receive the text or the title of the task that the user is going to write in an input text in the form of the page. And look at this, feature. So feature is this one, feature. And feature, remember, feature is the, here, feature is the column, is a smaller part inside this layer that is in charge on a specific function. Yes? Let's continue with the next task. The third one, create task list widgets. Widget. Here is the list when we are going to describe or enumerate all the tasks that the user wrote on that input text on the page. But widgets, remember, widgets contain the features, and widgets is here, widgets. When you are going to start to build the project in real life, you are going to start with the entity, and then you are going to write the feature, and next you are going to write the widgets, then the page, and finally the app. Yes, the order is contrary to this order, but it's good. It's good because is a different perspective that is necessary and mandatory to use to write in a logical way. Yes? And well, widgets, and finally the task number 4, create tax page, FSD, and tax road. Yes, we are talking about roads and pages. Pages, remember? That is a lawyer which called pages. So look at the synchronization from Azure DevOps from the work items, or more exactly a tax contains in a user story, with the layers of the architecture feature slide design. And that is wonderful, my developers, because in this way you are going to build having in mind the end of the project with clarity from the very beginning. Yes, you know what I mean? It's strange and hard to start writing code without knowing where is the end or what is the end. But using those best practices and excellent practices, you are going to build in a senior way. Okay, my devs developers, this was a simple yet sincere and complete introduction to the feature slide design architecture. I don't expect everything to be completely clear right away. Yes, again, this was just an introduction, but I'm confident that with this alone we already have a general overview of the architecture we are going to rely on and take inspiration from to start building senior level world-class front-end applications, my dear developers. Applications that can scale if 1,000 new users arrive. This architecture will allow us to scale so the magnitude at any time without issues. If new team members join, the architecture supports it. If a component needs maintenance, the architecture makes it possible to focus exclusively on that component without causing side effects. That is the mission of this architecture. By choosing and using it, we are setting the path we'll follow to build world-class front-end sites. So, thank you for your attention, and from the bottom of my heart, God bless you.